Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting to order on Tuesday, October 15th at 7 p.m. in council chambers for the school committee. First order, roll call. Martina Shea.
Present.
Stephanie Rivers.
Present.
Frank Kabinski.
Present.
Maria Torres.
Present.
Norma Chisnick.
Present.
Carla Dela Cruz Davila.
Present.
Brittany Davison, present. Number 2, Pledge of Allegiance. Item number 3, review and approve minutes from the September meeting. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Can I have a second? Frank, thank you. Item number 4, Citizens Forum. If there's anybody from the public who would like to come up and speak. Okay. Item number 5, introduction of Southbridge High School students representative and alternative. We're excited to announce that we have Jasenia Ortiz and Haley Prendeville here from Southbridge High. So you guys can go ahead and introduce yourselves and share.
Good evening, members of the Town Council, School Committee, and community members. My name is Haley Prendeville, and I'm honored to introduce myself as one of the students representatives for the Southbridge High School Committee. I am currently a senior and an honors student at the high school, where I also serve as captain of the cheerleading team. For the past 3 years, I've had the privilege of serving as class vice president. I am grateful for the opportunity to continue to represent the students of Southbridge High and to share their perspectives as we work together to support the success of our schools and community.
Good evening. My name is Jasenia Ortiz, and I am a senior at Southbridge High School, currently ranked top 5 in my class. Throughout my high school career, I have been a 3-sport athlete and an active member of several clubs and organizations, most notably the National Honor Society. In addition to this, I have had the privilege of serving as class president for 3 years and now representing my peers as a member of the school committee. As a dedicated and high-achieving student, I take great pride in my academic and extracurricular activities and am eager to continue my education in college, where I hope to further expand my knowledge and make a meaningful impact in my community. In Southbridge High School, we have many events coming up, one being our homecoming. On October 25th, Southbridge High School will host homecoming with the theme being Masquerade. Students have gotten the opportunity to help organize and design big events that bring our student body together. Since my freshman year there has been an increase in student opportunity to take on leadership roles. This is due to our great administrative staff at the high school who work hard to help students take on these leadership roles, most specifically Mrs. Doucette. Another point to highlight for our community is the recent improvements in our athletic programs, soccer in particular. Over the past 10 years, our boys soccer team hasn't had the most successful win percentage. However, with the new first soccer year coach, Brian Rotatori, there have been some amazing changes within the program. On September 12th, our boys team got their first win in over 10 years, which was huge for our community because it shows a large step in the right direction for our athletics. On behalf of the students at Southbridge High School, we want to thank Mr. Rotatori for his hard work and dedication, but also for all the support given to the boys soccer team, and we wish them all the best with the rest of their season. Thank you for taking this time this evening to listen to our updates about what is going on at the high school, and we are certain that the school will continue to lead to the right direction. Thank you.
Thank you guys for coming.
Like we discussed, ladies, thank you so much for coming. You're more than welcome to stay and watch the rest of the meeting. But if you have homework or other obligations, we understand that too. I just want to say how proud I am of you and how excited I am that we have students back in the chamber with the school committee. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Item number 6, High Road Southbridge Academy presentation.
Glad I got my glasses. Welcome and thank you for having us tonight. To start, I'm going to start with introductions. My name is Ian Cassidy. I'm a regional director of schools. for Specialized Education of Massachusetts. And I've been with SESI for 18 years, started as a one-to-one aide in Maryland, and I've been all over the country. Been out in California, Arizona, Colorado, Delaware, Maryland, and now I'm up here in the Northeast. Where I was, like I said, I started as a one-to-one aide. I was a teacher for 3 years, and then I went into run a school in Delaware before becoming a regional director. I'll turn it over to Lena.
Hi everyone, my name is Miguelina Felix. I go by Lena, and I'm the operations manager at the Southbridge in-district classrooms. This includes the K-2 classrooms, 3 to 5th, and 6 to 8th. This is my 7th year with SESI Schools. I started as a teacher assistant. I was in a teacher for 4 years in a lead position, and now I've been an operations manager for now this is my 3rd year.
Ooh, can I put this up? All right. Good evening, sorry, low. Yes. Good evening, everybody. I'm Sharnice Williams, known as Miss Williams. I'm over at Southbridge Academy. I've been with SESI for 5 years. This is actually going on my 6th year. I started as a teacher for 2 years. Then after a teacher, I took on a role as an operations manager.
In Hartford before she came here, and I was lucky enough to have her join my team. So I don't want to read through this word for word, but this is just talking about Specialized Education Services Incorporated in general. For the IDC that we have here at Southbridge Academy, we partner with school districts to work with those students whose bandwidth has been reached within the traditional school setting. They come to us in hopes of, building those tools and providing those tools that they can use, whether behavioral, academic, whatever it is that they may need, and social emotional. And our goal is to get them back in the traditional school setting so they can enjoy that, full high school experience. Or in the case of Lena's programs, whether it be the elementary or middle school programs.
I'm basically going to speak on the challenging behaviors that our students have. A lot of times, the reason why they go through the behaviors is because they have a hard time with advocating for themselves. So it's the way how they speak in the classroom, speak to each other. So 9 times out of 10, it's inappropriate. In our building, we have break rooms where students is allowed to take time to themselves just to process everything that happened. Because 9 times out of 10, when you're in a classroom, you're just yapping at each other and don't have that time to process and say, you know what, I was wrong. So we have spaces where students could take some space to themselves, process what's going on, talk with other staffs about what happened, how we could support them, and so on like that. We also give them space like taking breaks, so they have like a 5-minute where they take a walk or they need to go meet with their social worker and so on, just to get that time to themselves before they go back towards their academics.
All right, so our classrooms, the way our program functions is we have 2 main things, what I call this kind of what runs our program together is our ACI, which is our academic model, as well as our PBIS, or our case model. So within the classroom, right, we really want to push students to be able to work through those behaviors and take space when they need it. So that's what we call the chill zone within the classroom to, again, help support them and de-escalate. Usually our students often find themselves taking advantage of this and being able to work through the emotions and use the support staff in the moment. Again, this is explicitly taught for them to be able to utilize in those moments and learn self-advocacy skills and to teach them the coping strategies that they lack. And often it's the driving factor of them enrolled in our program. They're lacking kind of the ability to be able to speak up and to self-advocate. So again, the chill zone is just a place for them to be able to do that within the classroom and not have to be away from their peers at that time.
And just to piggyback on the classroom setup, you will notice that anytime that you tour any of our programs, our classroom setup is pretty strategic all across the board, where we have it set up for our rotation model. So you have a teacher-centered zone, a teacher assistant-centered zone, and then kind of like self-work zones where they can get their cubicle or at a table. But they're very strategically set up to move around with our rotation schedule. The referral process, I realized when I put this up, I realized this when we were eating dinner tonight, that this is more centered directly towards Lena's programs in the IDC. But traditionally, we want students, before they come to us, to be on an IEP for about 4 to 6 months and have all of those materials come with them, whether it's the FBA, the BIP, and any kind of safety contracts or anything that they have, and proven to not work. At that point, they get referred to us, and we work directly with the special ed director. From there, we move into a tour. We call it a successful tour with the student and parent involved. All the paperwork gets signed, and then we can move forward with setting up transportation and start date. More specific for Academy, it's been great setting up a relationship. I did see Jeff and Stefania here tonight. They've been amazing to work with. We made sure to kind of like get in their good graces right away, get with them, meet with them, and they've been great to work with. So the referral process has been kind of really smooth right from the jump, because we've been working with them, they bring people to us, we try to observe if we can. If we can't, then we move on, but they always share all the information we need, and we move the process on as quickly as we possibly can. And then I'm going to turn it over to
So one of the big goals with our in-district programs is inclusion. So here you'll see we hosted a game night with West Street. This was awesome. It was open to all students at West Street in our program. It was a great success. We were able to give out a lot of like sensory toys for the students that participated. And then in the middle, you see one of our students who actually came to us from Eastford Road from the intervention room, and he's now entering third grade and has inclusion classes upstairs. So he's able to go upstairs on his own to word study. He has his break card he can raise up, and he recently got the SEL award in West Street. So huge progress right there, being able to see him to start be in inclusion. And then we just have one of those rotation models that Ian was referring to, where we have a teacher assistant working with the students. Again, you see like that that high like staff to low student ratio, where they're really getting that help they need right then and there. So great to see them use that multi-sensory approach. And then we wanted to break down some data here. So you can see our 3 years that we've had this program and our attendance rate. So we're seeing a lot of consistency. As you know, elementary school, usually attendance is not really an issue. It's more like when you get to the middle school and the high school grades. And then the biggest thing that we look at is like our emergency interventions have really decreased over the years. When we first came in, it was a lot of us setting kind of those structures and routines that students really needed. And now we're able to see like a large decrease, and just the ability for the students to be successful within the program and in inclusion. And then lastly here, we're looking at a decrease in suspension. So again, being able to utilize all of our de-escalation and getting students to really understand their coping skills and what they can do to achieve that. So it's a great thing to kind of see the progress throughout the years that our in-district classrooms have had.
I'm just going to jump in real quick. I'm just going to brag for Lena because she won't. But I think the suspension piece, and a lot of this data is proven because Lena goes above and beyond. One of the reasons why these kids often fail is that there's not enough things out there in the community for them, and she sometimes does a little too much, and I got to tell her to stop because she's extending herself a little much, but she's trying to get help from those services that these parents really need in order to get their student success. So a lot of these things that are happening, also, I was jumping in on the suspension piece. Not only is the reduction there, it's also because of her relationship with the parents and being able to work through other things as opposed to just giving the students what they want, which is days off, pretty much, right? Suspensions.
And jumping on what he said there, so what that looks like is really like getting the parents set up with what they need in the community. Like we're putting in those referrals, we're connecting them with like resources in the community, and we're just taking the time. I mean, we understand these parents work, they have a lot going on, so if we need to reach out to their pediatricians, whatever we need to do in order to get those services in place and see them have success.
Hi, the Academy again. As you can see, the first picture, that's our team at the Academy that work hard every day to support each and every one of our students that come in. The middle picture is one of our students who actually just received the job, and he's doing an awesome job. Staff goes out to support, so even though we support them inside the building, we try to go outside the building and let them know that we're still here for them. And the last picture is, this is Mr. Dillon's science class. We still do the rotations, how we have teacher, teacher, independent, and TA rotations. He does a lot of group sessions as well, and students are actively engaged in class. Our data, this will be the attendance. As you can see, our first year here was 2025. It took a dip due to the fact that we are a new program, the policies that we have in place, the expectations, which one of them was a big one, was a cell phone policy. The students didn't like that, so as you can see, they not coming to school, they want their phone, they don't want to be here. We had a lot of pushback, but as time went on, I showed them that at the end of the day, regardless, like when you wake up in the morning, 9 times out of 10, the first thing you're doing is you're on your phone. Put your phone in the locker, focus on you. You have 6 hours, 5 days a week to really just dedicate that time to yourself instead of social media. Social media is going to be there when you out of school, out of work. So they have bought into the program. Our attendance have increased since we started school in August, and I'm very happy about it, as well as our staff, because students are now actually coming to school and seeing how important academics are. Before it was just that, oh, I don't need school or XYZ, but now they are actually understanding the importance of the academics. Here we have the report for incidents. I really didn't want to put this up there because, as you can see, for 2024, it was high. As we came in last year for 2025, it did decrease significantly. And the reason why is because a lot of the things that are reported, we usually don't report. We try to replace those behaviors. Like, for example, one would be like in the classroom being shouting out disturbance. Instead of putting a report in there, we'll pull that student and have a one-on-one conversation and ask them, is that appropriate behavior to have in class? Go over why did you do that, like the function of the behavior, and try to work with that student to make sure that, let them know we don't need to behave that way in the classroom to get the attention that you're looking for. As this year started, we only have 43 reports because we're still working on those, replacing the behaviors that the students have and just communicating with them. Also advocating, having them advocate for themselves. There could be something going on, you didn't sleep last night, anything going on, communicate that. You need 5 minutes to yourself, take the 5 minutes, get back on top of your academics. Sorry, I'm out of breath. The last one is suspensions. 3 years ago, they had 22. Last year we have 15. This year we have 3. The reason for the decrease in suspensions is because a lot of the students want to be outside of the school, especially the high school students. They feel like, oh, I'm going to do XYZ to get suspended. That's not the right way to go because that takes you away, that takes you out of the classroom, that takes you away from your academics, and you have failing grades. So one of the things that we put in place was alternative learning. So if students displayed certain behaviors, they are to report to alternative learning. All our classrooms is upstairs, alternative learning is downstairs. They still get access to their classroom teacher, they still get the work that they will get on a daily basis inside the classroom, and they still get everything. The only difference is they won't be outside suspension. They still have to attend, come to school, and they still have to be held accountable. So that helped a lot, and none of the students like alternative learning because it's boring and they're not with their peers. And because we worked on that social emotional piece and that socialization, a lot of students want to be with their peers. So that number has decreased as well.
And before I turn it over for questions, I just wanted to say also to brag for Sharnice, is when we came in 2 years ago, the biggest things were attendance and suspensions that we talked about. They're like, we got to find an alternative for suspensions because it's high school kids and that's what they're looking for. And we, I got to put it on Sharnice. She said, we can do ALE, which we did in Hartford, and we can turn it into a success that way. And attendance, traditionally at the high school level, is really tough. But her and her team have put in a lot of effort starting probably 3/4 of the way through last school year to get prepped for this year. And this year, we've already done 15 home visits, visiting people, trying to get these kids engaged so they're not out of school. We want them through our doors, and our attendance is improving immensely, and we want to keep that up for the rest of the year. And then lastly, I'll just turn it over if there's any questions or anything. Thank you for hearing us out.
Any questions? Member
How many
Schreiber?
students do you actually have in the various grade levels, or how is that spread out?
Sure, so each classroom can hold up to 10 students. We have 3 classrooms for the in-district, so we can take up to 30. We're currently at 26. So we are definitely getting the student service currently.
Now, that's the elementary level of the whole?
And middle.
Yes, so,
Elementary and
yep, there's K to 2 is 10, 3 to 5 is 10 slots, and the middle is 10 slots, so we can take
Okay,
30.
and then the others are at the,
So at the academy, at the academy right now, we have 22, and we could take up to 30 students. And we have 9 through 12.
Can you talk a little bit more about your rewards incentives program that you went over with me today?
So at our program, like we spoke about earlier, we follow the PBIS model, which is CASE, so considerate, accountable, safe to engage. Students get, throughout the day, they get to earn like academy bucks, and it's basically if they're well behaved, if they're following their personal goal, they're engaged in their academics, so they get incentives. So every month, incentives are put in place. Like we have the snack shack that go to the cafeteria that the students can use their money if they have it on it, because they're responsible for their own money. So you go to the store, you don't have no money, you can't buy anything. So they're learning like that responsibility of managing their money. They can use it for the snack shack, they can use it for the school store, which the school store is open on Fridays. So whatever money they have, they saved up. If they don't have it, they know, like for example, we have Amazon orders every other month. Depending on what step you on from the ladder, which is step 3 or step 4, that's the highest step you can be on other than gold. You can order off of Amazon for a certain amount. Last month we did our first order, and I had 3 students order, and the other students was like, Miss, I'm on step, but I don't have no money, but I'm gonna save up my money instead of going to the school store so I can earn that. So they know, like, so I try to be very transparent with the students. In order for us to get paid, we have to go to work, we have to take care of responsibilities and do what we need to do. The same thing goes for in school. All you need to do, show up on time, go to your classes, complete your academics, behave appropriately. So they earn inside the classrooms and outside the classrooms, and they utilize the money for any like activities and stuff that we're doing.
Any other questions? Thank you guys so much for coming in, doing the presentation.
Thank you.
Item number 7, Bill Metzger.
Evening, Madam Chair, through you to the members. As I get ready here, I just wanted to, thank the folks from Specialized Education Services. They're great partners. Ian and I have developed a very good relationship. We can pick up the phone, we can problem solve. I see Sharnice and Lena boots on the ground every day. We're really happy with the progress we're seeing in the programming that we've partnered with them for, and very excited that they've done so much work with the attendance and the suspension rates. So guys, thank you so much for taking some time this evening to let the committee know about the work you're doing. I also, before getting into my main presentation for the evening, wanted to take a minute and read an email I sent to the staff this morning. October, as people may or may not know, is National Principals Month. So October is National Principals Month, a time to recognize the incredible work our principals do each and every day to lead our schools with dedication, care, and purpose. Their leadership sets the tone for our learning environments, supports our teachers and staff, and ensures that every student has the opportunity to succeed. Please take a moment this week to thank your principal for the many ways they make a difference for students, families, and colleagues. Their work is the foundation of our collective success. So I, once again, want to thank our outstanding school leaders for their dedicated service to the Southbridge Public Schools, and specifically to Ms. Williams at the Academy, to Principal Stefania Doucette, who's in the crowd tonight from Southbridge High, Principal Kelly Galino from the Eastford Road School, our middle school principal, Sarah Houle, our principal at Charlton Street School, Abdi Ladande, and our principal at West Street School, Marilyn Stella. The principal job is a tough one, and I appreciate the energy and passion that they all bring to the buildings every day. And I will tell you, just like our teachers, their workday extends far beyond the first and last bell of the day. It's not unusual for us to be emailing, talking, nights, weekends, you name it. Student success is their priority, and I appreciate them greatly. So thank you. I have a brief update tonight, and then I do want to talk about our accountability data a little bit. Okay. First, the Department of Ed has sent a notice to all school systems in the Commonwealth that we need to formalize our process for career and technical education admissions. The department recently, within the last 4 or 5 months, changed the admission criteria for voc technical schools, and part of the policy change was for the member districts to articulate what their policies are around students accessing information to career and technical schools. So I will take the next couple weeks to formalize the process that the district already uses to ensure career technical education opportunities. Examples of the things we're already doing: we're distributing literature and information on behalf of the technical schools, sharing information about our students with BayPath and other schools, provided that their parents give permission for them to be included in the data that we send. And we do arrange for representatives from BayPath to come and talk to our students, and we also arrange a yearly field trip for our middle school students to go over, get the tour, experience what the BayPath experience may be for them. So again, the district already has pretty solid practices in place. It's just putting pen to paper, articulating them, and putting them on record with the department. Are there questions about that? Next, I do want to talk about our MCAS data, our 2025 data. So when we say 2025, we're talking about the tests that were taken in the spring of last year. As you know, question 2 eliminated the MCAS as a graduation requirement. And I can tell you, when we had the state level meeting about the accountability data this year, I think the department and local districts, ours included, are wrestling with the 10th grade test, right? The kids read the news. They get it in different ways than we do, right? But they understand that the requirement's been eliminated at the state level for graduation. And, I heard that reflected in the remarks that the Director of Data Accountability was giving us from the department. Like, perhaps the students didn't take the 10th grade test as seriously as they had in years past. And that was like a statewide trend, especially with the longer written response questions. So just a little piece of information. However, the MCAS are still important. There needs to be some measurement, some vetted, verified measurement for student performance for a variety of reasons. To measure student learning against our state standards, to identify where gaps are occurring in individual students' learning or in entire classrooms or school districts. We do want to have data-driven decision-making and accountability to help us with our cycle of continuous school improvement. Equity and transparency, ensuring that students are ready for college, right, with the skills they need in English language arts and mathematics. And again, to give us data points to take a look at how we're doing as a community, how we're doing as a Commonwealth in servicing and educating all of our students. I will, at the end of my presentation, share it with all of you like I do typically. You'll see here in the reasons, it's a link, and it kind of further articulates those bullet points if you have questions. A lot of talk about taking a look at pre-pandemic and post-pandemic test scores throughout the Commonwealth. So just to give you some context, 52% of students statewide met or exceeded expectations in grades 3 through 8. Prior to the pandemic, that number is down a full 10 percentage points in the 2025 results. I think, again, math is down fully 8 percentage points between the pre-pandemic and post-pandemic bookmarks. So districts across the Commonwealth are wrestling with how to get at least back to pre-pandemic levels of achievement. Also an important metric that we'll talk about a little bit more, or I'll talk about a little bit more in the presentation, is the student growth percentile. So you have the raw achievement score and then student growth percentile, which measures the academic growth compared to peers with similar past performance, so an apples to apples comparison. It focuses on progress. 50% represents the middle of the range. You typically want to aim for 50% or higher. Student growth percentile, it means the students are staying on grade level. And then numbers above 50 to stretch above, and numbers below 50, that indicates that they are behind what the grade level standards are. All students across the Commonwealth, the student growth percentile is 46 for ELA and 49 for math currently. The average scale scores, 500 or above, is meeting or exceeding the expectations. In 2025, our average scaled score was 474 against the state average of 494 in red. And the math, again, 473 against the state average of 495. Clearly, there's a lot of work to be done, and we understand that. This data is public information, and I felt it was important to just share it with you directly. And it is certainly not a reflection of the effort that our principals, teachers, and students are putting in. We just have some gaps to close in a very real way. So our district results, again, I want to talk about the metric coming out of the Commissioner's office now with pre- and post-pandemic performance on the MCAS. So in our grades 3 through 8, we were one of only 63 schools in Mass that returned to pre-pandemic performance levels on the math MCAS. That is encouraging. It's exciting news. It's worth celebrating. I would argue, though, that even our pre-pandemic rates do need attention. And again, in English language arts, we did have an improvement by 3 percentage points year over year from 24 to 25. Still about 3 percentage points off for how our students performed in the pre-pandemic year of 2019. So back to pre-pandemic levels for math and within striking distance for ELA with our grades 3 through 8. I do believe that next year we'll close the gap in ELA and probably improve upon the work we've done with math. Got a bunch of different ways to look at the data here for you guys. So this is how all students, grades 3 through 10, are reflected in the next couple of slides. So we have 14% of our students meeting or exceeding expectations, again with an average scaled score of 475 and a 46.3 student growth percentage. You can see down here the gray is how the state is performing, and the blue down lower, or the green, is how our own students are performing. So you can see that we are staying kind of on the trend with what is happening across the Commonwealth. Math, again, pretty closely mirroring what is going on statewide. Of course, our students meeting or exceeding expectations is 10%. We need to improve there. Average scaled score of 473, and that student growth percentile inching closer to that score of 50. The elementary is, currently the grade levels that we need to do the most work in. And I'm going to talk about some specific action steps we're taking later on, and a really critical component that I need the community's help with. So in our elementary schools, this is, grades 3 through 5. We currently have 6% of students meet or exceeding grade level in ELA, and 4% meeting grade level proficiency in mathematics. High school data, just for context, dropped a full 10 percentage points pre to post-pandemic statewide for ELA. Another significant drop in math from 59% to 45% in 2025. Currently, our students, again, the trend does kind of follow what's happening across the Commonwealth. We have 13% of last year's 10th grade meeting or exceeding expectations in the MCAS with an average scale score of 473 and a student growth percentage of 34.5. Mathematics, again, 10%, 474 and 35.4. 2022 is a bit of an anomaly for us in a good way with how performance was across the state. Other than that, the trends mirror closely. Again, the overall proficiency scores we need to improve upon. That's no secret. I am encouraged by our students' growth percentage, particularly compared against the comparable school districts in the Commonwealth. So every school system has like 15 comparable districts that are part of like how DESE does accountability data, and it's kind of like a bellwether. Like, the students in these other communities most similarly fit like the student profile of our students. So we feel like the comparison is the most accurate or fair. And you can see in terms of our comparable districts, all grades in ELA, we are pretty competitive with student growth percentile at the 46. And then again for math, I need my glasses too, Ian. Again, we are faring pretty competitively in terms of our similarly situated districts across the Commonwealth. Southbridge Middle School is where we've seen the most improvement over the last several years. We're looking now to replicate that success both on both ends of the spectrum, right? In the elementary grades that are sending students up to the middle school, and to continue growth and achievement in the high school grades. So you can see the middle school ELA, 23% of the students meeting or exceeding expectations on the ELA MCAS, 480 scaled score, and now well above the 50 on student growth percentile at 56.1. And in math, we have 17% of our middle school students meeting or exceeding expectations, 480 the scaled score, and even higher student growth percentage at 57. You can say when you back the data out to just the middle school, we are 1 point off leading the league in comparable districts with our student growth percentage in ELA. I believe we are tied for first with Lawrence and Lowell for growth in mathematics. Again, we want achievement to improve overall, right? But I think it is worth noting that there's over 1,700 public schools in Massachusetts. There are 315 school districts. Southbridge Middle School is one of 63 schools out of 1,700 that was able to return to pre-pandemic proficiency levels in the math MCAS. I think that's worth celebrating. I think it's worth congratulating, and really doubling down on the work that we've seen happening there over the last couple of years. So what are we doing about it? This is not an exhaustive list, but I think it hits on the major topics. We, as an administrative leadership team, set very specific and rigorous district-wide goals that focus on getting students to grade level proficiency in math and English language arts. Also continue to focus on the social emotional well-being of students, make sure they are in school and available for learning. Regular meetings of the building-based student support teams where, we take time out of every week to talk about the very neediest students in each of the schools at each grade level and what we are doing to provide supports for them. Implementation of a new elementary writing curriculum across the entire district, including professional development. Focus on independent reading and writing in the middle and high school grades. Mr. House, Ms. Doucette, and Ms. Houle have done tremendous work in turning around, what the work product is that we expect from students on a day-to-day, week-to-week, and semester-to-semester basis, with a much stronger focus on individual reading and writing happening within the instructional day. Focus on outreach around attendance. We're going to talk about attendance more in a little bit. We've attended one workshop so far this fall. The team from the school system was led by Principal Doucette to take a look at some of the root causes of our data with our partners at the Department of Ed. I think it's very important that, again, we have stabilized building level leadership teams. I think it's worth repeating frequently that this is the first time in a generation that the principals that completed the 24-25 school year were still the principals during the 25-26 school year. I think stability at the building level, leadership level is going to translate down to higher retention rates for our educators, which translates to greater student success. And we need to expand our support for English language learners and our special ed population. I'd say those are the big buckets. Probably most critical of all of those is attendance, right? 90% of life is showing up. And I understand that there are challenges. There are barriers that our families are trying to overcome around attendance, but coming to school is the #1 way to be successful. If you look at this information, so scaled score by absence group, right? 0 to 2 absences, the scaled score is 486, right? You get down to 18 plus absences, which is a designation of chronic absenteeism, and you're down to 468, right? So that's a 20-point percentage drop in performance. A third of our students were chronically absent last year across the district. And it's the middle school's done, great work and student attendance rates, but it's a problem that we're facing across grade levels. And again, it is the #1 indicator. It is the #1 thing that students and families need to understand to be successful. We do a lot of outreach to families around issues of attendance. I talk with the principals weekly when I check in with them about student attendance. They have teams that meet weekly in the schools. We are calling families every day. How can we help get your kids into school? When families can't come to us, we go to them. Through home visits. We plug them into wraparound services and social service agencies, and at times the court system if they're having trouble getting their child in the building. But it is, I challenge the community to take this issue on. We are doing everything we can to make the schools warm, inviting, and inclusive places that instruction happens every day, but we really need the community's help in stressing the importance of attendance for kids at all grade levels. You know, we could have the best lessons and interventions in the world. If the kids aren't in the seats, it's not working. I know that was a lot at once. Are there questions I can answer?
So interesting, when you say you reach out to the parents about this attendance issue, what are some of the main reasons that you get back? And are there, to me, obviously it's whoever's responsible for the children to and be responsible for their being there. Well, so I guess the two questions. One is, what are some of the most prevalent reasons? And there must be many in which the school can have no effect because it is so far outside their responsibilities and duties.
Yeah, that's a great question, and it's a complex issue that communities are faced with. You know, we have a lot of single-parent households, and I mean, I grew up in a single-parent household, but sometimes the parent is at work in the morning and can't get the child to school. We have transportation access issues, particularly at the secondary level. You know, the middle high school is situated pretty far from the population center of the town. If kids miss the bus, sometimes they have no way of getting into school. Some of the older kids, it's behavior, it's the school refusal. The parent doesn't know what to do with the kid either, and we try and partner up with them to do everything that we can to pull out the stops. We have a lot of students that deal with mental health issues that are a barrier to coming into school, and we've tried to create a number of you know, different programs and, you know, wraparound services to support them. And you know, some of our kids are helping raise their younger siblings. Some of our kids are, you know, working a lot to help support, you know, pay the rent and pay the utility bills at the houses, and kids are faced with tough choices. I mean, it's a super complex issue. And in the post-pandemic world, I mean, districts are wrestling with it. I mean, attendance is down everywhere across the country. If a school system or a superintendent or a principal could come up with the solution, they could write a book and monetize it and make a ton of money. We're really struggling, I think, as a society to encourage attendance at school.
Any other questions?
Do the principals at the schools have what's called a roundtable with parents at all throughout the school year, maybe on a monthly basis, just so that they can encourage parent feedback on a more constant basis?
So all of the schools have parent councils that they set up. I mean, some are more robustly attended than others. But, you know, we certainly create opportunities for people to come in and talk and partner with us around issues. We also, like I said, on a case-by-case basis, you know, make touch points with every family and have them in for individual meetings or go to, you know, their place of residence if they can't get to us.
Do the school resource officers also, I don't know if they do
So
this.
like truancy?
Well, are they on hand in case students need a ride to school? I know they did that at one time, years and years ago, but I wasn't sure if they offered that as, you know, an option for students that, because the school is now located up on Torrey Road, to go and get the students.
That's an interesting question, and I'd have to tell you, knowing the resource officers like I know them, I am sure they've provided some rides. That's not an official policy, and it's not an official policy, I guess is what I'll say. I think there's probably some liability issues around it.
Of course.
Could it be looked into?
Sure.
Who's paying for the liability for that looking into? Right now, I would say your approach on an individual basis is the most direct approach. Asking the parents and others to meet again outside is probably far less profitable.
Any other questions?
Thank you all.
Thank you.
And thank you again to our principals. Happy Principals Month, everybody.
Agenda item number 8, Chairwoman's announcements. This Saturday, October 18th, from 4:30 to 8:30 at the Community Center on 153 Chestnut Street, the Wellstorm Inc. is putting on a Halloween karaoke night. It is free to the community. They are just asking for a $5 donation or canned goods to go towards their turkey drive in November. That was sent out to the schools, which was shared. Number 9, vote on members for policy subcommittee. So after the last meeting, I had sent out an email to gauge interest from the committee on who was interested in joining the policy subcommittee. And I received feedback from Martina, Stephanie, and Norma for their interest in wanting to be on the policy subcommittee. So if any member would like to make a motion to vote them in.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Okay, great. So we have our new policy subcommittee, which is exciting. Agenda item number 10, discussion of MASC resolutions. This was emailed to everybody, so I will just open the floor for anybody who would like to share thoughts on anything that they read.
Purpose is what? Just our impressions on these? Are these somehow counted as our approval or disapproval of these individual items on this resolution, or?
So there are items that are discussed at the conference in November. So for item number 11, we'll vote on a representative. So it's just to have open discussion so that representative has an understanding of where the committee stands on each of those resolutions when they go and vote on them at the conference.
So then each one of these will require a vote so that they'll know how to respond as a delegate from this committee. Is
Not
that
a
right?
specific vote, but just overall discussion and impression from the committee on their thoughts.
Huh.
Anybody want to open the floor?
Yeah. 2. I was looking at resolution number 2 with the increase of from, I think it was 2% to 5%. I didn't see anything in the language there. My concern would be that anytime money's collected, it's going to be spent. And that doesn't mean it's spent where it should be. So from what I can understand from this, it sounds like they're trying to prepare for a shortfall, but I would prefer to know exactly what that amount is rather than collect it ahead of time and then somehow, some way, have it used in another direction that we perhaps then don't have a voice in. So that's on that.
Any other thoughts?
Which one was it? Oh, first resolution. This is sanctuary language. Completely against that. We don't need any additional burden on our state financially to support people who are in another state where this has been decided. I don't agree with that at all. We don't have enough money to fund what we need now. We don't need to be taking on other people's objections to their own local government. They have a say in government, they have votes, they have representatives, and that's where I would stand with that specifically.
Anybody have any additional thoughts on any of the resolutions? No?
No.
Okay. All right. Item number 11, vote to elect member to representative during deliberations on conference. Anybody would like to make a motion? To nominate?
I'll do a motion. I would like to put a motion through for our chairwoman, Brittany Davison, to
Do I have-
represent us.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any other nominations for a representative?
Is there a number we need of representatives? Is it 1, 2,
Just,
5?
it's one person.
Just one, okay.
So all in favor? Okay. Agenda item number 12, discussion on progress toward meeting DESI plan expectations. We'll start with Norma Tisnick.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you, I had completed all that I planned to do in the month of September, so kudos to me. I met with Mr. Williams on the 11th of September, had a great discussion, goals, on achievements. On the 12th of September, I did a few trainings, which were the Equity 101 and Open Law meeting. On the 12th, I also did a CPAC tabling at the Free Resource Fair that was located on Henry Street Park. I also sat in on a few volleyball games, football games. I did have a meeting with Council John Daniels. Oh my God, I did so much. Upcoming to do, I will complete a training on the 17th of Equity 201, so that's a part 2 to that training. I do have high school, middle school visits scheduled. I also have a CPAC table that I will be doing on the 18th at the Wellstorm Karaoke fundraising event. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Vice Chair.
I had meetings with Juan and Brittany, meetings with the superintendent, Juan, Brittany, Linda, and Judy. I also attended the CPAC meeting. I attended a school board meeting that they talk about civics. I also met with Counselor Daniels, with Norma and Brittany. And I'm excited about Friday for the sensory immersion room at the high school. I will definitely be there for that. And future school visits, I'll be going on the 31st to the middle high school. And in January, I'll be going to the elementary schools. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Martina?
I've spoken to, I've sent a request to the receiver to visit some of the libraries. Also, I've sent a request through our chair that we get an encumbered budget. For those of you who are not familiar, what a school system or a town does is we have a budget, say transportation. We figure that it's going to cost this much, so we earmark that money that cannot be used for anything else unless it's transferred in or out. And I would like to see what our encumbered, I did get this idea from watching the Southbridge Town School Committee, and they said that they get theirs usually in October. They said they weren't going to be quite ready this year because of various changes, but they expected it to be emailed to them. So I'd like to see exactly how much of our money is already earmarked and how much we have any wiggle, if we have any wiggle room.
I can have that for the November meeting.
Thank you. Excellent.
Anything else, Martina? Stephanie?
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman, through you. So for training, I have to reschedule chart the course training due to the fact that I was ill. So that's on the horizon to reschedule. Today I took school tours at the middle high school and the high school. Thank you to Principals Sarah Hull and also Principal Stefania Doucette for the tours. I enjoyed them greatly. It was very nice to see both schools in action throughout the school day. Wonderful programs in place. Thank you also to Shanice Williams over at Southbridge Academy. I greatly enjoyed the tour there as well. They have a great program in place with many incentives for the kids over there. So I was happy to have that tour as well, especially in my alma mater high school, Southbridge High. I also took part in the meal plan program, which is something that the high school football coaches are doing this year for the high school football team, where you sign up to provide the dinner for the high school football team and staff on Thursday, the day before their games. And so I signed up and provided the team and staff with lasagna, salad, and garlic bread. And I also collaborated with my relatives over at the Golden Greek restaurant for the use of their ovens to cook the lasagnas often. And then my daughter, Amanda, and myself transported the food up to the high school. I wasn't aware that we could stay, and I wished I had known ahead of time, so I wasn't prepared. But if I do sign up for the meal calendar, I'll definitely come in and meet everyone next time if I do that again. It was a lot of preparation and work, but it was also great to be able to support that cause for the high school kids, and I'm glad they enjoyed it. Let's see what else. Upcoming is the ribbon cutting for the sensory immersion room at the Southbridge High School this Friday that I plan on attending. And also in November, the Massachusetts Association of School Committee conference in Hyannis that I'm looking forward to attend with my colleagues here on school committee. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Frank?
Nothing new since our last meeting. That's it. Good point to ask right here, I think. Are there events or scheduled or upcoming educational opportunities for us as a group to attend? I guess I kind of thought that was where we were going. It seems like no discouragement. Everybody's doing some individual things, which is great. But I thought last year we had spoken about us as a group. We've met several times over the last couple of years. I think it was your first year here over at the library. I guess I expected more of that. Not saying anything negative about anybody, just didn't know if there was something I was unaware of.
Nothing currently scheduled. I know we were doing trainings with MASC based off of what was in our DESE action plan, but we've completed all of those trainings at the moment.
Okay.
But if there's something specific that you're looking for, let me know.
No, just probably open meeting, which I did see is available on an individual basis.
Yes.
So, yeah. Okay.
Maria?
So this past month, I attended the Eastford Road Elementary School Snow Cone Social Event with Brittany. It was really nice. They gave out books and jackets as well as snow cones. So thank you very much for everybody for organizing that for our students. I also attended the Junior Entrepreneur Business Fair at our town common. It's a one-day market for students of all ages, elementary, middle school, and high school. Gives them an opportunity as a youth to offer and display their ideas as young entrepreneurs. They were, as an example, they were able to display their ideas and their business ideas and creativity, like handmade crafts, a lemonade stand, other services. in support of the next generation of business leaders in our community. I've also attended the Southbridge Second Annual Youth Night at the McMahon Field, supporting the high school, middle school, football, along with the town football youth and cheerleaders as well. What's upcoming is MASC Equity 101 training this month, which is turning equity aspirations into action. So I'll keep you posted on that. And I also met with Brittany individually to go over some great things.
Thank you. I had my agenda meeting with our superintendent and our vice chair, along with Juan, Judy, Linda. Carla and I met with Juan, also met with Counselor John Daniels, where we were able to highlight the collaboration of our current school committee and answer any questions that he had after a presentation that Carla and I gave at a town council meeting. I did reach out to Counselor Dow to set up a meeting. I'm still waiting to hear back from him. We were supposed to have a meeting with the commissioner, but he was unable to make it, so I followed through and went to the middle high school for a quick tour. So I appreciate the accommodation for that. I was glad to see, I believe it was a social studies and English class, and see a lot of open discussion in the way that the students are thinking and the way that the teachers interact with them, which I really appreciated. I attended the Cultural Heritage Night last Friday. Amazing performances put on by all of the students. Great turnout from family as well. I did attend a football game, the Snow Cone Social. I also attended the CPAC meeting, and I was happy to see that we actually had a few more parents in attendance than we did last year. So I'm excited for that. And they do have a training upcoming on October 20th at 6 p.m. So if you're interested, you can email them at cpacsouthbridge@gmail.com or follow them on Facebook. And upcoming, I have more meetings, I'm sure, to schedule along with school visits and the conference. Item number 13, next scheduled meeting will be Tuesday, November 11th at 7 p.m. in council chambers. Just kidding, November 18th.
I was going to say, that's a holiday. 11,
I don't know.
11, at 11 o'clock in the morning.
All right, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
A second?
Second.
All right, all in favor? Meeting adjourned.